Welcome once again to this week's edition of Blabbing with Blabbing Entrepreneurs. I don't like this 9 o'clock stuff, man. This is tough. This week's edition brought to you by Your Real Estate Concierge. If you need help with your real estate business in the way of online marketing, social media management, website design, so on and so forth, check out the link below me, yourrealestateconcierge.com, for some help. And tell them that Gene sent you. So listen, today I'm excited to have, I feel like I'm in like the company of the Queen or something, man. I got the president of the Bucks County Association of Realtors for 2015, Alex Shnayder. Alex, how are you, buddy?
Not too bad. How about you?
Listen, like I said, for 9 o'clock, I'm not doing too bad. That's the coffee. But normally, man, I'm still in REM. You know what I mean?
Really?
Nah, not really.
I'm usually an early guy. I'm like 5 o'clock in the mornings. My day starts.
Nah, you're probably halfway done by the time I get steamrolling. I got the kids, send the kids off to school. I help the wife on most days. She might disagree, but no, I don't get started until usually. I'm really rocking and rolling by about 8:15. But
that's not bad. I mean, half my day's done, but that's all right.
Yeah, but you're probably one of those guys that eats dinner at 4:30 and goes to bed at 6:30.
Sure, after I work out, though, for 6 hours.
Well, listen, we are going to get into that, my friend. I'm excited about a lot of things. If you have gotten, I mean, we got a lot to talk about. Usually we like to keep this 20 minutes. I don't know what your time looks like, but I have a feeling we're going to go for a little while. So let's talk a little bit, because I always lead the show with how we met, and that's sort of a different story. But most of my guests up to this point have been health and wellness fanatics, more specifically, CrossFit people. So talk to me about CrossFit 053. Tell me a little bit.
All right. So CrossFit 053 is the affiliate that I own with my partner, Jim Franks. I guess last month, August, was our 2-year anniversary. So we've been, thank you. So we've been there for 2 years. We're located it's technically Lower Southampton, Bucks County, but it's got a Huntington Valley address. We're right on the corner there. So we specialize in CrossFit there. We have a barbell club now that we've started. We're doing a lot of Olympic lifting stuff now. We've had a couple competitions for Olympic lifting as well. I did my first one in April, and I took gold medal in the 94 kilogram division, which was kind of nice. Yeah. I'm doing my next one is coming up in December. But our Olympic lifting coach is doing the hook grip competition coming up first weekend in October. So a lot of us will be down there for that as well.
And where is that?
Hook grip is it's sponsored by Liberty Bell, Liberty Bell Barbell Club, and it's at the convention center downtown. So it'll be like it's a whole weekend. It's really one of the bigger ones right now. It's I think it's called Spartacade this year, and it'll have like CJ Cummings, Fleming, all those guys will be there. So it'll be a really big event. Diane Phil is doing a seminar there. So it'll be a lot of, if you're into weightlifting, it's going to be a big weekend. I think actually tickets are even sold out already at this point.
Wow, that's awesome. So I want to get a little bit into that further, the CrossFit element of it. And I want to ask you some questions about tying your success to health and wellness and the CrossFit thing. And oddly enough, our box, Paul Bunyan CrossFit, which is in Newtown Square, just had their 2-year anniversary. I'm apparently the first paying member there, so I just hit my 2-year anniversary there with them. So
right,
and it was August actually too. So it's kind of funny. We have those similarities, obviously. Before we get further into that, let's talk about how we met. And I'm going to bring up some dirty laundry here, right? So I'm going to give you a big trouble with the Bcar. No, and that's not true. Do you remember where it was?
It was a triple play.
Triple play, but more specifically, there was a place we ended up late night, I think.
Really? Well, you may have been talking to my alter ego at that point.
Now listen, you were with Frank Raybon, right?
Right.
So which means probably it was very late and you don't remember most of it.
Well, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. It's possible.
No, and obviously I'm kidding, but I kind of remember that after triple play there was a remax event at another hotel, one of the other casinos.
Out the Borgata.
Yeah, it sounds about right. And I went over with a bunch of Remax agents that are from my area. We end up meeting up with you guys. Maybe you split a little early, but we ended up, it was, I'm not saying late. It was midnight, 1 o'clock, and we ended up in a basement somewhere, like in one of those clubs. It was dark. I just remember hanging out late. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe I made that up. I have no idea.
We were in the basement of the Brigada, huh? That must have been a good time.
I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'm having flashbacks. Forget I said any of that. That's off the record.
Well, there was there is a Remax party that they do at the Mix, which could look like a basement, quite frankly. And it's possible you're thinking that.
Mix was it?
Yeah, that was it. But that's usually over by like 12. So maybe it was the tail end of that. It's possible.
Or we just extended our stay.
Fair.
Right? I mean, I'm sure they didn't run out of beer when Remax left.
No.
Listen, no offense. I didn't care about who was there. I just wanted the beer.
Listen, they named streets after you. One way.
Well, yeah, that's true. So listen to this. Wait. So going back to that, it's been a couple years and we've done some things together. I don't really get to see you. So I want to extend an invitation to you. And I know you won't take it, but I'm going to put it on the table. And I know you've extended to me to come up there, and I actually want to do that.
Sure.
October 10th, our gym is holding the second annual Lumber Games. And Lumber Games, Paul Bunyan, you get it. But I'm actually going to go out and embarrass myself as a competitor.
I saw you post that, and I meant to write down when that was to go. Is it the whole weekend or is it Saturday?
Yeah,
October 10th? Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, this is what I'll tell you. As you well know with the CrossFit community, the gathering is going to be phenomenal. Last year, the guys that ran it did such a great job with their first year. People thought it was going on for 4 years because of how well it was put together. And
oh, wow.
I expect the turnout's going to be phenomenal. And it's just a ton of fun, man. And realistically, I'm doing the scale portion of it, right? So, which is fine. I'm 40. I'm getting old. But I'm going to get out there with a partner of mine who actually is an attorney. So we're going to talk about that element of it as well.
Boy, you got all kinds of transitions today.
I know. Well, if you know anything about me, I'm all over the place. We'll be talking Eagles in 3 minutes, you know. But I would love for you to come out and bring Frank or whoever, bring the crew and get there. We're going to have like a truck there and great food and good music, and you can get a chance to laugh at me.
Did they release the workouts already?
Yeah, they actually did. Yeah,
how bad is it?
Well, it's for me, it's awful. So I'll tell you what it is. So WOD 1 is 10 minutes of cleans, and the other partner gets to do snatches, max weights, add the 2 weights together, and then the partners, after the 10-minute round, there's I forget the time frame, 90-second, as many squats as you can do with the snatch weight. And for each squat you do up to 30, you get a 5 extra pounds on top of your total weight.
So in other words, so you have 10 minutes to work up to your 1 rep max on cleans and snatch. One partner does either. And then after that, you'll have 90 seconds to do as many squats of the snatch weight that you worked up to.
Exactly.
Both or just one partner has to do the squats?
No. We both have to do it, and we cannot do more than 5 at a pop.
Oh, okay. I see.
Right.
Oh, that sounds fun, actually.
Well, it's more interesting because the more you think about it, there's a lot of thinking that goes into it because my partner's way stronger than I am. But if I let him do the snatches, then I got a front squat, a heavier weight, and we won't get to the 30. So there's a little bit of scientific prepping for it.
Sure. So that's workout 1. What else you got?
Yeah, that's workout 1. Workout 2 is
I like that workout.
Run between partners.
Which sucks. Go ahead.
Yes. Each one has to do 400. 300 single unders. I'm missing something. 40 deadlifts at 205. 100 hand release push-ups. 40 deadlifts at 205, and then 300 single unders.
I don't hate any of that, actually.
I've done it a couple times, and aside from my eyes bleeding each time, I didn't hate it either. It's not terrible. Oh, there's a 16-minute cap. Sorry about that.
That's fine. How bad could it be for 16 minutes?
Well, no, you're right, right? You can do anything. You know what they say? You can do anything for 16
Yeah.
minutes. But listen,
Right. Right.
the problem, if you can't, like for me, I run a fast. When I say fast, fast for me, 400 meters at about a minute 34. So if I hit it,
That is fast.
If I hit it, oh no, don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying that. I'm saying that's probably my best time, a minute 40, right?
Oh.
So if I run the 140 and he runs the 140, we're already 4 minutes into the 16 and we haven't started anything yet.
Right. 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 That's true.
And then
That's true. And that means you're sprinting that run, which is killing you.
yes,
Yeah. That would be tough.
Deadlifts and jump ropes. It gets taxing.
Yeah. Yeah. Your hands are going to be on fire.
Oh, there's no question. You're not. I'll be laid up.
Yeah. That's cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And the last one's even worse. The last one's like 95-pound thrusters and kettlebell swings.
95-pound thrusters and kettlebell. How many thrusters?
I'd have to look. A ton.
Yeah.
He doesn't mess around, man. He doesn't make it easy. Believe me.
Did he ever do?
No, and I tell him he'll laugh at me. The guy's name is Jordan Quinones. He's a freak of nature. As you know, with some of these guys in this place.
Sure.
But he's a young kid, and he's gotten to know us so well that like 20 minutes into these workouts, I'm looking at him saying nothing to him. I hate your guts. Like I just hate him. I hate him, but I do love him. I love him.
Sure.
So let's talk about that a little bit because I know I talk CrossFit a lot, and people by this point are probably sick of hearing it. But too bad you got to deal with it.
Right.
Tell me how that. So you are the president of the Bcar, as we talked about. You're an attorney with your own firm, and you're also a remax realtor, amongst, I'm sure, many other things, a father, a husband, all that great stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit, people always say, Alex, I'm sure they do this. How do you find the time to do all the things you do, let alone go and work out? Tell me about, and it doesn't have to be CrossFit, but your health and wellness. And I know you've slimmed down. Anybody who knows me knows I've slimmed down. But one of the things we always talk about from an entrepreneur perspective is how your health and wellness ties into your success. And so I'd like for you to talk a little bit about why it's so important for you to do the workout stuff and why it's changed your life or if it hasn't and why it's important. So give me some of that.
So I guess that would require a little bit of a background as to how I even got into CrossFit initially, which is for that exact reason. Out of high school, I think I just heard you say that you're almost 40, so we're about the same age. So, in high school, I played sports, after high school in my first round of college, I say first round because I went back later, but first round of college, I was always athletic, always working out, that kind of thing. It was relatively easy to stay, I guess, what I consider fit at that time. Life gets in the way. You have kids. I decided to go back to school because I wanted to go to law school. I went back as an adult. So basically what I ended up doing was going year-round to undergrad. I mean, I started at Bucks Community College, went year-round, went to Temple undergrad year-round, finished there, and then went right into Widener Law School. My last week of Temple undergraduate during the summer was my first week of law school orientation. I mean, it was going round the clock. And then my second child, my son, was born my first full week of law school. So that August of 2007 was like a nightmare. It also happened to be around the same time when the market collapsed in real estate too, which was really convenient, by the way. So all of that sort of created the perfect storm. Fitness was not even a factor in my life at that point. I gained a bunch of weight. To sort of put it in perspective, not that I like to use pounds as any kind of indicator for anything, but it seems to be what a lot of people use. When I graduated high school, I was in the 150 range. When I started CrossFit at a local affiliate, I was 220 pounds. Wow. So I put on a ton of weight. So anyway, I kind of got sick of looking at myself. It really, particularly as an attorney, you have to have a level of confidence. And you have to have, in going in front of a judge who may or may not be friendly, going in front of a jury who may or may not be friendly, going in front of your clients, there's sort of an image that needs to go along with your ability to know the substantive part of the law. So I always had sort of a a concern with my self-confidence when I'd have this big belly hanging out, right? And I always think that people are looking at it, which the reality is people aren't, but it affects how you are able to work. So I decided after I graduated law school and hopefully would pass the bar that summer, the next thing I wanted to do is sort of get back into shape. So I passed the bar, luckily that summer, which we don't find out for months later. But so the following spring, I started hearing about this CrossFit thing the same way most of us do, which is through social media. It was through a guy that I actually knew from elementary school. He now lives in California. I would see him posting all these crazy workouts, same way we always say it. And he kept tagging CrossFit, and I had no idea what that was. So I started looking into it, and it looked pretty cool. The thing that drew me to it was that it was the length of time that you had to be there. Right. One of the things that I don't have a lot of is time. So, the key was that it's an hour in and out, and you're done. So I went to my first CrossFit intro class, as Frank Graybon can attest, and he has pictures floating around somewhere. My face was gray, blue, anything but the color that it should be while a person's working out. I fell in love with it. Frank never came back. I stuck with it. And at that affiliate, I met my current partner. He was a coach. And, we just decided that we wanted – look, every affiliate has their own thing. We were looking for something that had a little more barbell movement, and where this seemed to be more like just in like an endurance base, like a lot of it just wasn't a complete picture of what CrossFit really is intended to be. So our vision was to do something more like that, which is what we ultimately ended up doing. And now it's a monstrous part of my life. I mean, it's funny, I do wear many hats. The one thing that is interesting is no matter who I meet, in regardless of what walk of life, hey, I'm an attorney. Yeah, I'm the president of the association. I'm a realtor. I own a CrossFit gym. Nobody wants to hear about any of the other stuff but CrossFit. It's the sexy part of it, which I get. And I'm happy to talk about it, and I can preach on about it forever because it really has changed my life. I mean, it really has.
Well, listen, it's amazing, and it's a shame because, as you well know, CrossFit nationally gets such a bad rap because the people who don't understand it are, let's just be honest, they're afraid of it, right?
That's right.
And it's funny, just to tell a quick story, we're going to be doing an interview with a friend of mine, Pat McIntyre, in a couple of weeks. And Pat recently joined CrossFit. And while I met him through another friend, and I was basically having dinner with him. We were talking business. It was more of a, hey, I do social media, let me help your business type stuff. It wasn't really about that. Well, his brother-in-law goes to CrossFit with us, which is how we met. And he said, I'm thinking about going up to CrossFit. What do you think? And I said, when I first started this, I used to run around with the flag. You got to try it. Everybody's got to try it. And I would get shot down, and people would look at me like I was a nut. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're part of the cult, right? So,
it's a community, not a cult.
Well, you know what? Here's what I always say. If a cult means that people there that actually care about you and your family, your health, your wellness, and your business, then yeah, it's a cult, and I'm part of it, right?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. Yep.
Absolutely. You call it what you want. And by the way, if you're looking for me, I'll be down at the gym. So, I said to the guy, I said, I can't recommend it for you because it's different for everybody. But here's what I'll say. If you do something like that, you got to give it 3 solid months. Something's going to happen in those 3 months that I can't explain. You have to experience it. And just a week ago, he and I did a partner workout, and we busted this workout. And he hit like 2 what he thought were minor goals. I got a text message from him about 8 hours later saying, dude, I am on such a high right now. I can't tell you. And I said, you hit it, Pat. That is what I was talking about when we sat together 3 months ago. You got it. You're hooked. Yep.
Yeah. I just got chills listening to that, actually. I mean, it's because it's true. Like, I know what you mean. It's an amazing, amazing feeling. The ability to look at something and say, there's no way that I can do that. And then when you're in the middle of the workout to think, I can't believe that I'm doing it and I'm going to die and I'm going to quit, but you don't. And you push yourself through it. And then afterwards you go, I can't breathe. I can't catch my breath. I want to die. And then an hour later, you're like, wow, that was pretty impressive. I did that. And it pushes you to places the dark places that you never thought you'd be able to go to. And it takes you outside your comfort zone, which is why again, I don't want to preach about this, but that's why Globo gyms don't work. you're only going to push yourself within your own comfort zone. You know, how many times a week are you going to bench? How many times are you going to, you know, sit on a treadmill? I mean, the reality of it is it just, and you can be there endlessly. And it's just not effective. You know, here you have somebody that's pushing you the entire time, but safely, clearly. And you're seeing results, and you're creating something that you'll never create anywhere else. I mean, it is an extended family. I mean, you know, we have a member right now. It's interesting you brought that up. She just gave birth to her first child on Saturday, right? Her water broke at, I guess, around 4 a.m. Sunday morning. Saturday morning, she was still in my class working out.
Wow.
And everybody's been reaching out to her, you know, getting her gifts, checking in on her. I mean, baby CrossFit. I mean, we have a sign up in ours, you know, how many days till, you know, CrossFit baby, you know, comes. Like we had a countdown. I mean, everybody is involved. That's what it creates.
Like you said, family. And I think one thing that it's hard to explain that I saw Dave Castro, who you know, I'm sure you know really well, runs the games, and he's part of that. And I remember watching that one special that they put together about the games. And the one thing I saw, it was an hour's worth of stuff. And the one thing that caught my attention was they asked him how to explain what CrossFit is. And he said, shared suffering. And I said, I thought that was a great way, because you and I are together 4, 5, 6 times a week. And like you said, you're doing things together that you never thought were possible, and you're pushing each other. And when it's over and done, there's an emotional attachment with that person that you can't build any other way.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, it really forges relationships. I mean, in every aspect. I mean, and quite frankly, even for business, you know, CrossFitters amongst themselves would prefer to give the business to other people in their gym or other, you know. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I have a listing in Lower Bucks County right now. As it turns out, it was a nice listing, and I had 2 offers come in at the same time. The second offer that came through was an agent who, you know, I happen to, you know, obviously look at the buyer's financials when you get the offer, and I know the buyer. He owns another CrossFit affiliate in the area. I closed out that deal.
Nice.
You know, I mean, you're gonna give the courtesy to somebody that, you know, that you respect, that you have something in common with. I mean, and that's what happened here. I mean, you know, certainly it was beneficial for my sellers as well. It ended up being a stronger deal, but at the end of the day, you know, they were fairly equal. I'm going to give the benefit to that other person, you know. So it does do amazing things, and it crosses sort of all gamuts. I mean, you're working out with so many different people from so many different walks of life. It's really incredible.
Yeah, and listen, from the business aspect, I'll tell you the same thing. I got in there. People found out what I do. I now am handling online marketing for Delco Solutions, which is Kevin, Synergy Glass and Doors, which is Pat, their brother-in-laws. Chuck Peterson Insurance is one of our clients, and I'm doing the social media for the gym itself.
Oh, wow. That's great. We'll have to talk to you about that as well.
What's that?
We'll have to talk to you about that as well then.
Absolutely. Listen, this is how these things are forged. Like you said, it's an amazing thing. And just having conversations with people like this opens up so many doors. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to transition, because anybody who's watching this from an entrepreneur perspective is probably sick and tired of the CrossFit. I don't care. But I do want to get into the nitty gritty here. So first, we kind of talked a little bit briefly about you being an attorney, also a real estate agent, president of the Bcar, all that good stuff. If people were to want to get in touch with you, and why would they not? Give me a couple contact numbers, websites, email addresses that you want to put out there so that they can get in touch with you fairly easily. So,
yeah, great. Thank you. So a phone number is, depending upon what it's for, most of these numbers will all get to the same place, but for law information, it's 215-436-9144, 215-436-9144. Email is as@shnayderlaw.com. That's spelled SHNAYDERLAW.com. And the website is, theparealestatelawyers.com. So clearly the vast majority of my legal practice centers around real estate related law. I mean, it's not exclusive to that. I mean, I do a lot of things that sort of coincide with it. synergistically. A lot of do estate work, wills, trusts, some general legal counsel, particularly for businesses, small business things, formations of LLCs, entities, qualified associations for realtors to help for tax advantages, because Pennsylvania now allows us to have qualified entities, so it helps save tax time. But the vast majority of my work is real estate related. Bread and butter would be landlord tenant work, agent liability, failure to disclose cases, land use, zoning variances, and subdivisions. I just did my first planned unit development, condo docs and homeowner association docs from scratch. So that was like 3 weeks of work. I'm doing it for a developer he's building a four unit single family homes in Roxborough, which is rare in that area now to be able to build them, and he's doing a great job over there. So we just did that. Easement work. So anything that's real estate related, I do. I also do continuing legal education, and I teach in the areas of real estate law. And I do continuing education for realtors as well through the Bucks County Real Estate Institute as well.
Very good. So let's jump into that, because I was going to ask you a little bit about what kind of law you practice, and you answer that question. Let's talk about, because this is the real estate edition, let's talk a little bit about the real estate climate. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in Bucks County, and talk about anything that is hot for you right now, the state of the economy, prices of homes, the marketing aspect. I mean, we can go any different route you want. What makes Alex Shnayder from Remax a little bit different than any other agents in the area? But let's talk about the climate up there a little bit.
So I think, I hate to speak in generalities, but I think that our local market is probably similar to what else is going on out there. There's not a lot of inventory, which is not uncommon coming out of the summertime. I always tell people that I oftentimes think fall market is probably better than spring sometimes. People consumers are shocked to hear that, but I always feel like at least in this part of it, once people get back to their normal lives after Labor Day weekend, maybe the kids get back to school or they get back to a normal routine, you start to see some more inventory. You start to see buyers back out there. Living in Bucks County, we're unique in that we have a gorgeous, gorgeous county, particularly in the fall time. So the foliage is really nice. There's, when you visualize an autumn afternoon, whether you realize or not, a lot of times Bucks County is sort of the picture that's in your mind. So I think that tends to be a good time to be house shopping and putting your house up. It helps the curb appeal. It's really, really pretty. As far as the market itself, it just seems like here's what happens. If a house is priced right, it goes right away, and maybe even multiple offers. It just tends to be that everybody is much more sophisticated as a consumer than they were years ago. They're out there scouring every website, trying to find whatever angle they can. And if something pops up that seems like it's a good deal, they jump all over it just like everybody else does. So I tend to tell people that, excuse me for a second, let me just. Yeah, sorry. So people tend to jump all over it. Most of the stuff that they get as their, as a first full list will be kind of stuff that people have kicked over. They're not really in love with it, but once it's priced right, it's gone. Otherwise, it'll sit around for a little while. Interest rates are incredibly low. So I had this conversation last night with a client actually, and I was saying that prices have gone up a little bit since they bottomed out, and inventory is low, so it's starting to drive prices up a little bit, and interest rates are low, so people are able to afford more house than they were able to years ago, and people are just jumping all over it. So I think the key is, you got to get out there, see what you like. I tell real estate agents too, don't discourage people from tire kicking initially. Get them out there, make sure that they know where they want to be and what kind of house they want, so that when they are actually ready, that they're not hesitating and potentially losing a house that they really want. So that's always sort of what I tell my buyers. With sellers, I just tell them, look, you got to price the house right. and you have to be realistic about what it is. Forget about, your emotional attachment to it. You have to be objective about it. And look, these are the values in the area. You have to be objective about it. And if you want to sell your house, this is where it needs to be.
So that leads me to a good point. I mean, if we were to talk about a split on your business, one side being buyers, one side being sellers, you consider yourself more of a listing agent, more of a buyer's agent?
I don't know. I'd say it kind of varies depending upon, it varies. I would say that, I mean, I'm carrying, I guess, about 12 listings right now. So right now I probably have more listings than buyers at the moment, but it varies. There's plenty of times where I've, way more buyers than I have listings sitting out there. I've always liked the buyer's agent side of it. I think you engage with your client more. You're out there, again, not to bring it back to CrossFit, but you're sort of you're in the dirt with them. You're out showing properties. You're out, working through it. You're talking more. I mean, there's more of an engagement there, and I think I like that part of it. I like forging that relationship more that way. Where with listings, you talk to your seller when you get feedback. You talk to your seller when it's time to reduce the price. You have contact with them once a week or whatever, but it's not as engaging, I think, as it is with buyers. With buyers, there's a lot more. They seem to be more excited about going out to look at things, and it seems to be more exciting for me. It always has been.
That's interesting. I'm actually surprised by that answer a little bit. I understand 100% what you're saying, because I know that when you say in the trenches, in the dirt, you're a personal guy. You're probably one of those guys, I'm guessing, that are more about the relationship than the transaction. Right?
Yep, exactly.
But it's funny, because I would say, and maybe this is because the perception is that listing a home is easier than trudging buyers for 8 hours on a Saturday. But right, so I expected you to say listings because I can crank them, as opposed to people I got to coddle them, right?
No, and no, I'm telling you that part to me is so. I guess part of what makes my DNA is this ADD that I have, right? So I have to be doing all these things to feel like I'm accomplishing something, and there's a difference between being busy and being productive, right? So to me, I feel like being productive by engaging with these people and forging these relationships builds more business down the road. I'm not, I don't care about that one transaction, and I'm usually more difficult on clients' homes, and I'm more difficult on houses that I'm seeing than they are, just because this isn't about one house that I'm selling them. This is about forging a relationship down the road. Because of the many aspects of my life, they could be intertwined in any given way. They could buy a house that's within driving distance of the gym. I want them to become members. Down the road, I want them to, it's time to, there's a life change. It's time to update your will. It's time to, relook at your estate. Hey, mom or grandma passed away. Hey, let's go probate this estate. Hey, it's time to sell this home or that home. Or hey, Alex, I got myself in a little bit of trouble. Do you have a guy that does DUI? Yeah, I do have an attorney friend that handles criminal stuff too. So for me, it's the relationship that I crave way more than the actual transaction and being involved with them on a day-to-day basis.
I love that. I think that's great. Which probably, if I'm guessing, and I don't really have to guess, I know the answer, but that's what drives you more business. I love the fact that it seems to be more about you helping the person than it is, and that's evident by you owning a CrossFit gym. I mean, if you're doing it the right way, which I know you are, it's more about helping that person become better at themselves, really, right? I mean, it's not about the $100 membership or whatever.
No, right. It's so to me, I always felt like if you're really passionate about what you do, it doesn't matter what that is. I mean, I just, the widgets that I happen to sell are legal services, real estate services, and fitness, right? That's my widget. It could be, you could make pens. I don't care what it is. Whatever you're passionate about, be passionate about that and work on that, and the money will come. I mean, that's always been my thought. I've never, ever focused on that. It'll come. I mean, trust me, I do more legal work for free than I do paid. It's just, you sort of just, you do it to help people out, and then it comes back in spades.
Well, it's funny you say that because in my line of business, the same thing. And what I do is I go out and teach classes and help people. And we had talked at one point of me coming up to Remax Eastern up there. I want to come up and show everybody what it is. And people say to you, well, how do you make your money? And I said, well, look, I'm going to show you how to do it in your business. And then if you don't want to pay me, that's okay, because here's what's going to happen. If you do what I tell you and do it right, then you're going to see that it works and realize that you want to do it more. And when you want to do it more, you're going to go, I don't have time to do this, but I need to do it now. So let me call Gene. I'd say, oh, I just hope that at some point you think about me, you give me a buzz, and then I step in and I help you.
So I hear what you're saying. I completely agree.
All right. So the last piece here, actually not last piece, there's two pieces. For all the Bucks County realtors that are watching this stuff, and really any realtor that'll catch this, from a listing perspective, or you know what, it doesn't matter. If I called you in as a buyer or a seller, you know, I'm probably interviewing 2 or 3 or 4 other agents that I may know or may not know or found them online, whatever it may be. Alex Shnayder from Remax is one of them, and he sets himself apart from everybody. How?
Well, I mean, it's the obvious answer. I'm an attorney. So there's a couple different things. I mean, but they all sort of fall under that general umbrella. The first part is I actually understand the contract. I understand what people are getting into. And I'm not besmirching my fellow brethren by any stretch. But there's years of and hundreds of thousands of dollars of education by that certificate behind me that shows that I can understand and read those contracts and understand them really well and know what people are getting involved in and able to explain it, and not just because somebody explained it to me, a year ago. It's a different animal with me. You have the component of legal services, which there is a little bit of a line that I draw there. For the most part, you'll have that knowledge. I can't take a hat on and off. I'm an attorney by trade, so my responses are going to be in that realm. I think if something does get litigious, then obviously it's a separate issue. But typically in a typical real estate transaction, you're getting the services of an attorney, where most people are getting somebody that maybe got pre-licensed as quickly as a weekend, right? So I mean that's not a put down on anybody, but that's sort of a distinction with me. Additionally, and I've said this for years, it's a little embarrassing. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I will outwork anybody at any time, and that's sort of what they get with me.
I love that answer, and I think I have a lot of experience in the real estate arena and a marketing perspective, but I also know what a HUD is and the agreements of sale, and I always say to people that if you're a good agent, there's a couple things that you're going to do better than I could do myself, right? So you hear about
that's right.
Sale by owners. The real reason, like people say, real estate agents are going to be phased out by the new virtual offices and all the stuff that's going on. Here's the reality. As long as there's a 25-page contract, somebody needs to be able to navigate through that contract. And really, aside from the marketing, right? Marketing is one element of it because that's what I'm in on buying.
Yeah. Right.
The other piece is this. I don't want to put together paperwork. I don't want to have to sign stuff that I don't understand the language in. So I could sell my house if I wanted to, because I'm savvy enough to be able to take pictures and do stuff like that. But who wants to navigate the negotiation? Who wants to navigate that contract? And really, from an attorney's perspective, that puts you in a pretty good spot.
That's right.
So, all right. So here's what we want to do. You okay? Can you hear me still?
Yeah. I can hear.
Cool. So just to wrap this up, and we're 45 minutes plus into this, and I want to thank you for your time. And I knew it was going to get a little bit.
No, it's my pleasure.
I knew it was going to get crazy, and I want to do this again. Somewhere down the road, I want to call you, and we'll set it up again. But what I want to do is, one of the things that I always leave the viewers with is, if you're a real estate agent, a budding real estate agent, or you've been in the business forever, or an entrepreneur. I mean, let's talk about just business in general. If you're out there and you're responsible for your own paycheck, I want Alex Shnayder to go back and have a conversation with the 23-year-old Alex. And I want him to give him one piece of advice, whether it be make sure you do this or make sure you don't do this. And I know I'm putting you on the spot, what would that one piece of advice be to younger Alex that people can take a nugget of information from?
It's twofold, but sort of interconnected, right? So the first thing is you need to learn to budget, and you need to learn to give yourself a paycheck, but and not just pull whatever money comes in. It's the most difficult thing that I had to do. You could have a month where you make $30,000, and then you could have the next 5 months where you don't make a penny, right? I mean, of course, I'm being it's a little hyperbole there, but it could happen, something like that. So you have to be able to provide yourself some kind of budget and know that, okay, this is what I get paid myself every week. And you have to allocate money for taxes. Income taxes for self-employed people they can be destructive. You could find yourself $20,000 in the hole at the end of a year and not know how to pay it. You have to pay quarterlies. If you're not paying quarterlies, you're paying. And again, depending upon how you set up your business, there's that can be an entire segment on its own. So without getting into the weeds too much, I mean, you need to create your business to be an actual business and not just a hobby. And you need to be able to set up in such a way that you can sort of try to keep your taxes down as low as possible and do it the right way and stay within the confines of what's legal. So those are the things that I would tell young Alex to do. And the other thing that I would say is, and this is just a personal thing, I don't know, this is something I would tell myself, is be wary of partners. It always sounds great initially, and there's nothing wrong with it, but depending upon what your drive is like and what your personality type is like, sometimes what seems like a really good idea ends up being a really poor idea. I mean, I see it as an attorney now with people that they're dissolving their business relationships, or ones that never formed formal business relationships and are trying to go separate ways. I get that a lot. And I've dealt with it as well. I've dealt with poor partnerships. I have an excellent partnership right now with the gym. So, it's just because our personalities mesh, and really it's about personalities and relationships, just like anything else.
Well, listen, a business, let's call it what it is. A business is a marriage. And, when the money is coming in, and we used to say this all the time. Actually, oddly enough, one of my best partners and longest partners is actually watching in on this right now. Michael Suchaworski's on the side, so I got to be careful what I say about partners. And that's actually not true. I still love him to death. But we used to tell people all the time, getting an LLC is easy. It's not the part of establishing the LLC, because you're excited. You got a logo. Emotions are high. We built a website. Where it comes down to why you need an attorney to draw the papers up is because now I hate you because money's not coming in and I want my stuff back. Right?
Yep.
So just like prenup and divorce paperwork, it's not about getting into it. It's about having the right stuff there, so when you get out of it, you don't get killed.
Or when you're in a position where it's time to make decisions, you're not making decisions emotionally. You've already planned for it. You're prepared. This is what we decided we were going to do, when everybody is kumbaya and hugging and holding hands. But I think when things start going south, or it gets emotional, regardless, it could be something positive that's happening. The business could be expanding, and now it's time to reallocate ownership interests, or bring on somebody else, or hire somebody. If you don't have that pre-planned, now everybody's fighting about how to deal with it, and it's detrimental to each other and to the business itself.
I agree. So listen, that was great stuff. That's something that when the video's actually set and done, you got to figure out a way to cut that portion of it out and give that away for free on some of your your blogs, or whatever you're doing in marketing. That's advice that's free advice, really. Let's call it what it is. That's free advice from an attorney, and I've been in this entrepreneur world for 7-8 years now, and it's valuable what you just said.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. So listen, here's what I'm going to do. We have a couple people following here. I'm just going to do something different and open up the seat here. But before we do that, I'm going to say this to you. Thank you very much. I hope that you'll come down and see me make a fool of myself on October 10th.
Yes.
And bring people. It'll be fun. As you probably know, I don't take myself very seriously, but I'm looking to do this. And then I want to make it up to 053. We'll make an event out of it, and you can run me through the ringer, man. Make me bleed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
No, I'm sorry. So, so let's.
There you go.
I'm going to open this up here. But again,
all right,
dude, this was exactly like I thought it was going to be.
Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Alex. So let's see. We'll give it 2 seconds here. Let's see if anybody wants to jump in here, and then you can finish your day off. I know it's 10 o'clock in the morning now, which means you probably have another 2 hours before dinner.
Well, actually, this is I'm leaving for Disney tomorrow morning, so it's I'm trying to clean everything up before I leave.
Where are you staying?
Beach Club.
Beautiful. You bringing the whole family, or just you yourself?
I'm bringing the whole family.
That's excellent.
And the laptop.
Yeah, well, listen, with all the stuff you got going on, you can't leave home without that. All right, my brother. Listen, I'm gonna let it go.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna send you some more information on this in the end, and let's stay in real good touch.
Great. Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
All right. Thank you.